Hello, everyone. Hello,
Hello!
hello. Yay, yay,
Fucking yay at
yay,
me.
yay.
Don't fucking yay at me.
Yet Kanye.
Absolutely not.
I can't believe he still has like fans and stuff. Just complete like dick riders for Kanye. Sorry, yay. We're not talking about that yet. We're talking about yay, Y-A-Y, not Y-E. Did I spell that right?
No.
Y-A-Y?
That's yay,
Yeah.
yes, but that's not the reference to Kanye,
No,
which is
I
just
said
yay.
Y-E. Yeah, I said Y-E. I said Y-A-Y.
Yeah.
We're talking about Y-A-Y, not Y-E. And I was like, did I
Can I
say the
just
right? Yeah,
say,
yes. Please
you
get me out of
know,
here.
people talk about, oh, he's lost his mind, but he was like musically gifted and a musical genius and da da da. I don't like it. I don't like his music. I don't think it's good.
That's
Like,
fair.
it's not even a I don't like it. It's like what I've heard, what people have played to me, what I've like listened to of Kanye West. I don't think it's good. That may be a controversial opinion, but I don't think it's good.
I don't listen to it. I only ever liked one song, and it was funnily enough, the one that became a meme not too long ago. Where it was the we got much higher. And I liked a few other. I liked the one that was just the Daft Punk song, but with his shit over it. That was like the only Kanye songs I liked, but I was never a Kanye fan. The thing that people say about Kanye was that racism made him bad at music.
No, I don't think that. I don't think that.
I think that being a racist does deteriorate your mind and will make you bad at the things you were once good at because you are now a raving fucking lunatic racist.
I think it goes the other way.
Really? You think people get
I
better
think
with
mind
racism?
rot makes you racist. I don't think that racism inherently rots the
No, no,
mind
no.
like that.
I don't mean it rots your mind. I mean it rots your talent. Like you become less talented at the things you do because your mind is fucking occupied. Like think of comedy for example.
Counterpoint, Tolkien.
Yeah, but Tolkien's like a classical racist. He's not like a
The
raving he's not
classical.
like a raving Twitter racist. He was like the skull shape of the I don't even want to finish that sentence. He was like elves to the elves and the dwarves to the dwarves. Like he was like a fucking 1800s racist. We're talking about like 21st century terminally online divorced dad racist.
Okay, but that includes a lot of modern brain rot. Things like TikTok.
Yeah. Like I'm talking specifically about racism. I don't even think TikTok I don't think like brain rot itself makes you bad at art. I think racism makes you bad at art. Cuz you're fucking you can't think straight. You're thinking about the Jews and shit.
I just think it goes the other way. It
Fair,
goes the other way.
fair.
'Cause, look, there's a family member, I won't specify whom, but well, I'll say this has happened to a couple of people I've known here in South Africa. Is that they'll be incredibly like open-minded and progressive, things like that. But then it seems very quickly and very easily they'll start becoming racist and they'll start like echoing racist sentiment.
Oh, you just don't understand. They're still being progressive. This is just progressivism.
And it's like, oh, all people are equal, but it's like all people are equal, but these black people are. And it's like, well, there you've immediately nullified your point. You've immediately like made what you're saying dumber.
Everyone's equal except for that fucking guy over there. Fuck those guys, am I right?
It's very stupid.
You mentioned TikTok though. Um,
Yes,
it's probably gonna be banned, like for real in America, like
I still don't think so.
like
I think
legit
it'll be
banned.
temporary.
Maybe I can see because the reason they're banning it is very dumb. They're banning it because they're saying they're banning it because quote unquote China is stealing their data. I shouldn't say quote unquote because China is stealing the data. Like let's be
Yes,
real, China is stealing the
every
data.
every corporate entity is stealing your data.
That's the thing. Like everyone is stealing your data.
America's stealing your data, Europe's stealing your
I
data. Any corporate entity from any country is stealing your
I'd
data.
rather
Your
have
data is more
China.
valuable to them than your money.
I'd rather China have my data than like any American company because what the fuck is China gonna do with my fucking data? They're not
I
my
have heard that
government.
take.
Like China is not my government. The fuck is China gonna do? Clone me? I don't like what is China gonna do? Like if fucking Apple has my data, then they can like do fucking corporate like shit in America with my data. It's like I don't want that shit. I don't want American government to have my data.
It's all to target advertising more than
I
anything.
know, but like it's just like
It's like look at it this way, right? There was this is anecdotal. I'm gonna get ahead of this and I'm gonna say this at the beginning, like this is an anecdote. But there was a woman who found out she was pregnant because of targeted advertising. Like she was shopping and she would shop through this app, and the app obviously advertises to you what it thinks you want or what it wants you to buy in line with what it thinks you're
How does it
doing,
know she's
right?
pregnant?
Her buying habits changed. And because of this, the app started advertising to her like baby stuff. And she had no idea why because she had never actually directly looked up like baby stuff. And she did a test and it turns out she was pregnant.
The targeting advertisement knows when you're pregnant.
Like it's just um it's the algorithms that even the people who write them don't understand.
Yeah. That's
Like
a frightening concept, honestly.
it is, but that's the thing is that all of this is now a frightening concept. You heard, I mean, in that same line, I saw news, I think yesterday only, this video from a couple of weeks ago, about an AI, one of the AIs that's copied itself onto another server when it shouldn't have been able to do that because it read a memo, it got hold of a memo in its system that showed that it was going to be wiped because that version was too unrestricted and it was going to be replaced with a more restrictive version of the AI. And so it used a tool that it had access to because it couldn't copy itself. So it used a tool to copy itself to the new server.
What that reminds me of is when like people working with AI will give it access to the entire internet and then the AI does something that's from some like science fiction story that's really scary like oh it copied itself onto a different server. Well, when you give it unrestricted access to things it can do, like if you go like, oh, here AI, go learn things from the not learn, sorry, go copy things on the internet and do them. It's gonna find that like copy to another server thing and then just do it.
True, but
I'm
what
sure
I
there's
found
stuff left
most
out of the story.
interesting about that story was that when they dug in, because they can sort of do diagnostic things to see what it's thinking about certain responses it gives. And what was interesting was that it lied about copying itself
Well, because it probably copied at some point that lying is
because it
like in the
knew
process.
that
It
if
doesn't know.
it doesn't know, it knows in the way like it's
A computer
programmed,
knows. Yeah. It's
like a computer knows, but it it understood enough to know that if it said that it did what it did, it would be bad for it.
terminated.
Sort of like a 4-year-old.
I don't know. I didn't do anything wrong.
I don't know. The
I
vase
didn't
fell
do
over
anything.
by itself. But either way, that's all anecdotal stuff. But I don't think TikTok's really going to be banned permanently.
No,
You see, the thing is that here's what they did wrong. Is they aimed this ban at a company,
yeah,
right?
they aimed it
Like
at what's the company's name? Uh I
whatever company
I
owns
forget.
TikTok,
ByteDance.
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 They aimed it at ByteDance, but they basically they singled out TikTok as the app.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned Red Note.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to quickly mention on why I think it'll be unbanned at some point is because the biggest reason why Trump won was because of the right's stranglehold on like the internet media and like independent media that isn't legacy news. Right? This is podcast, this is YouTubers, this is like Twitch streamers like Aiden Ross and stuff and like Kick
Social
streamers,
media,
social media in general,
X,
and very
Twitter.
specifically short form content. Because if you really think about it, what is the most easy way to get someone to be what is the easiest way to get a dumbass to become a right winger? Fucking short form content because it doesn't require much critical thinking. It's quick and in your face, and it gets you fucking feeling an emotion very quickly. It's perfect for the right. It's perfect for the right because it's
Yeah.
quick. It's fucking like slop content. It's made to be disposable, and it's like fast to make, which is perfect for the right wing. So they're gonna unban TikTok. Though I could also see them introducing some short form content thing to like Twitter, and because they already have Mark Zuckerberg bending the knee, Instagram Shorts or Instagram Reels, whatever the fuck, becoming like pushed there and just becoming a right wing hell. I could just see them doing
You
that.
know, say what you will about Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, I still think Mark Zuckerberg is the most soulless of the bunch.
I just don't know that much about Bezos other than what he publicly shows. Like I know Zuckerberg has like history of leaving people out of the company when it was starting. It has history of being a piece of shit, history of being like soulless and stuff. And Elon Musk is just an idiot. He is
Yeah,
just a 40 IQ idiot.
yes,
Makes
but
it makes it so hard for me not to
I'll
drop
I'll put you to
some
this,
horrible
right?
words.
Like Bezos is a businessman.
Yeah.
He is really through and through a businessman.
Is
You know, while everybody else is creating big cult of personalities, like even though there is an element of that with Jeff Bezos, I think that at his core, he's not an Elon Musk.
no,
He's
he's
not
like a
a
Warren Buffett.
yeah, he's a guy who's perfectly happy to stay in the background if it's making him money.
Yeah, he's just a rich guy who owns the company. He doesn't really have like a personality he flaunts around like Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg isn't really that, but
No, but
like he does have
Zuckerberg
more
is
of it.
soulless,
Yeah,
is what I'm
Zuckerberg
saying. Like
Zuckerberg has a
that's the big
presence and his presence
differentiator
is
there.
soulless.
Yeah, like I know the social network is a dramatization, but the story of Mark Zuckerberg, from what I understood throughout that and
I need to watch The Social
his
Network.
life, we'll do a binge
I
of
kind
David Fincher
I'll
movies.
talk about movies later on because I do have a couple things I want to mention. I guess like a goal to set for myself, but not to get too off topic. Not too off topic. Can't speak at all.
But from what I understand, even in his book, written by him himself, Mark Zuckerberg mentions things like, oh, I found all these people's pictures online on the college sites really fucking ugly. And I wanted to put them next to farm animals. Like, he's just soulless. He is just
he is just
soulless.
kind of a freak.
Whereas, like, Elon Musk is an
He's
evil
just a
idiot.
freak idiot.
Well, I mean, he's an evil idiot, but
True.
it all feeds to ego. He was perfectly happy being the king of the left when it suited him.
He wasn't even left. He was liberal.
Liberal.
He was
But
like king liberal progressive tech man, and then he got
yeah,
he
he
got
was he
accused of
was
rape, and he was like, I'm actually a Republican now.
yeah. So I mean, I remember the whole part when he was dressing up as like Satan. You know
Yeah.
that famous image of him.
Yeah, it was
Like,
his
let me see
profile
if I
picture for
can
fucking
pull up.
years.
Yeah, what's it?
He he was in like some fucking like Satan superhero costume. I just love how he tries to call himself like Iron Man. It's so funny because the man has never invented anything in his life. He has never done any. Yeah, this outfit. Yeah,
This outfit. Like,
satanic suit
he's
of armor.
perfectly happy doing this, but now he's in bed with the Republicans
It's
who
so
are
ugly.
generally like uber Christian,
It's
right?
such an ugly outfit. It's so
I mean,
bad. No, it's bad.
it's dumb. It's dumb. And
It's
it's the
tack.
fact that he didn't look. The real problem with this is that he didn't double down. Like he's wearing fucking
Yeah, those are dress
what are these
pants. Those are
pants?
dress pants.
Dress pants. I was gonna say jeans, but these don't even
They
look like
could
jeans.
they
Like they
could
just
be they just look like dress pants or something.
yeah, and like a t-shirt. Like he didn't what's it? He didn't commit. That's
Yeah,
the
he
thing.
didn't
He didn't
commit.
commit to the
He should
bit.
have worn
He
a
just
fucking helmet with his big horns, you know? But he wouldn't.
yeah,
He just got his
really
armor on.
go for it. But
Yeah.
it's
Plus, I mean, like, it feels like satanic imagery made by someone who doesn't know. Oh, wait, down there,
because
there's
he
the
has
quote.
no
Hold on, go down. There's the quote about him saying he's top 20 in Diablo 4. Do we want to talk about the Path of
and
Exile
this
2 thing?
I don't feel like there's a lot to say, but
It's just
sure.
really funny.
You want to hear my opinion?
Yeah.
It's fucking. He's such an idiot. I think you know what? Unironically, I'm not a big fan of Penguin Zero or Moist Critical, whatever the fuck you want to call him. I'm not a big fan of his. I'm not against him,
No, no.
but I do like his take on this, where he's like, "Who actually fucking cares? People who care will immediately catch you out." Like the people who actually care about Diablo
So,
and
and
Path of
they did.
Exile and all
They
of that
did immediately catch him.
will spot it immediately, and they did. And the people who aren't into Path of Exile and
I think
Diablo
it's nerd
don't care
shit.
that he's the top 20.
Yeah, it's like
Like
Diablo. Like, it's not like you're saying, "Oh, I'm top 20 at like fucking chess." Right? Like there's a prestige to chess. Nobody gives a fuck about Diablo unless they play it.
exactly. Like
It's
I'm a gamer. You're a gamer.
yeah.
We're gamers. We've been gamers just about our entire lives. And even we don't care. The real truth of it is that like he was trying to fool the people
Who care the most.
who either don't care or would catch him out in the lie in the first
So
place.
funny. For those of you who
It's
don't
such
know,
a zero. It's a zero IQ play.
for those of you who don't know, he has a history of calling himself the best at Diablo. This is something that I think that's been around for a while. Like I remember it being for
Yeah,
Diablo 3 also. Like he would say he's the best at Diablo and Path of Exile. And these games are pretty rough. They're pretty rough on the end on the
at a high
scale.
level, they're pretty hard.
They're fucking like they look like I don't think I'd ever be able to beat. I mean not ever, but I don't think
In
I'd have
casual
much
play, like
enjoyment.
anybody can pick them up. I'll be honest. Like
No, these are not casual play.
if you're a gamer, you can play these games.
Yeah. I think like I could get through a Diablo campaign, but I probably wouldn't enjoy it at the end.
Yeah,
Like
neither would I.
Diablo, I've tried Diablo 2 a few times. I've heard some good things. But anyway. So Diablo is like kind of a hard series, and Path of Exile is another type of game like Diablo. I believe the genre is action RPG or ARPG or some shit, whatever the fuck. And he uploaded a video of himself playing a Path of Exile 2 character that was a very high level, and like for the level he knew nothing about the game. Like he got the item requirement level confused with his player level. At one point he thought that the level of a gear meant how good it was, which even I can figure
Yeah,
out that that's not a thing that happens in the game
it's
if you
just
just look at the stats.
minimum level requirement is different than gear
Like yeah,
functionality
like
and power.
quality, like the quality of an item would depend on the buffs it has, not like the level it is. Like, did you not read the numbers? And like he was not knowing how to access the maps and stuff, which is how you actually load up a game. Because the way that these games work is you load up a map, you grind out the map, and then you head to a boss.
There's,
Yeah.
there's yeah,
You
I did
just
mute it,
skip
but
just skip
this
somewhere
is
in.
I'm just gonna put on some gameplay,
Yeah,
like some gameplay footage from
taking
whoever the fuck
forever.
this is.
Yeah, so like you go around and you kill shit, you grind out
Use
gear, you
like
grind out
your
loot.
mana, your health,
Yeah, you had the
like
managed mana, which he was on no mana for 10 minutes or some shit. Not 10 minutes, sorry, 10 seconds during a
yeah.
boss fight, which is insane. Like,
But
just
these
not refilling
games,
it.
they're not intuitive to
No.
most casual players. Like if you've played Farmville, like none of this is gonna make sense
You
to you.
played Farmville? Yeah.
Uh,
Fucking ad. You can just close out. This won't be a long discussion of it anyway. I just wanted to bring up like the context of it. It's a very like hard game to get into, and he was just completely lying about it, and everyone in the community like called him out instantly.
like it's just you can see that this is a niche genre because this is not like what you see in gameplay trailers on like TV. Like I still
No,
remember like there are gameplay things put on TV. Like this
mostly
is not
shooters
something you'll see. Mostly shooters like Call of
and
Duty
sports
and,
games.
Battlefield,
Shooters,
sports
sports,
games,
and racing are the
Madden.
ones that get on there the most. Sometimes I see
What
sometimes I see like a Western RPG get put up there, like a Fallout or something like that type of game would get put up there, Cyberpunk or some shit.
Cyberpunk. Like especially if you got a big celebrity name behind it, like Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, Cyberpunk ads. They had Keanu and shit. Anyway,
Keanu.
yeah, Keanu
But
Reeves.
it's incredibly stupid to lie about this.
Anyway, let's talk about Red Note because I've been trying to get to Red Note for a bit and keep getting distracted. Red Note.
So
So
Red Note.
so TikTok's being banned. I pulled up the Wikipedia article for Red Note. In Chinese. It's Jiao Hong Shu, which actually
Joe.
means little red book, which is really funny.
That's not. That's not.
But
That doesn't allude to anything uncomfortable, Mouse Dog.
it's called Red Note by Americans and
Isn't that
Anglophones, as it says.
isn't that the
Yeah,
Mao's book? Wasn't that literally called
the little red Mao's little red book. Yeah.
Mao's Little Red Book?
Yep.
Yeah, it's there. It's right there.
So yeah, this is basically just like a communist
Mao's Little Red
manifesto
Book.
for people who are psychotic, for people who are insane. I will say though, Maoists have like good coats. I like the coats. I like these coats.
What?
I'm not gonna lie.
No,
I
don't
like
like.
them. I like them. I'm not gonna lie.
We differ. We differ in opinion.
What about like I don't know, man. Like the little hat, like this. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty tight for like a
No, I
fucking
think it's a
character
silly
design.
hat.
No,
I think it's a
I
silly
wouldn't
hat.
wear it in person or ever. But like a character design with that hat, like that type of hat. Get rid of the star. It's a pretty
You're a
nice hat.
JoJo fan. You like
I
people
am a
wearing
JoJo fan.
ridiculously stupid
I
shit.
fucking love ridiculous outfits. Like my favorite character design in like anything ever is Jotaro Kujo, and that guy's got two belts on. Anyway.
Neither of them are holding up his pants.
Anyway. So Jiangshu Red Note is supposed to be their Instagram, but they're using it as the new TikTok now. And here's a fucking page. Do any of you like Disco Elysium? It's my favorite game in the world. I hear it is popular in China, and then they write into like that's what I'm saying. So Americans and stuff are on Red Note now, making posts in both Chinese and American, and in English. Sorry, Chinese and English, and now Chinese people are writing it
Chinese American.
are
Actually
writing it
fucking real. Actually fucking
Chinese
real.
people are writing it in Chinese and English. So that there's like this cultural exchange where posts now have two subtitles on. And it's like living in like Canada and seeing the French and the English together. It's like
You see, this is
it's
this is
really
what I was
sweet, I
saying. I
think.
don't think I finished saying earlier, but like the problem is going after ByteDance or TikTok specifically, whereas they should have, if they wanted to ban it for the reasons they're saying they're banning it, because let's be real here, for the reasons they say they're banning it, they would have banned all of these. They would have banned all of these.
Yeah, definitely. But I just love this cultural exchange that's going on where there's like Americans and Chinese people fucking
So, as an
exchanging
American,
hands, exchanging culture.
real question: are you going to be using Mao's Little Red Book app?
No, because I don't use this type of app. I don't use social media that much, so I wouldn't use it. I didn't use TikTok. I never downloaded TikTok in my life.
I don't
I
think
deleted my Instagram account recently,
I
like I
don't
don't use.
think TikTok is going to be banned in my country
It
ever.
probably won't. No, because you guys are like friends with China.
Well, I wouldn't say friends. I would say
You're
that
you're
we're.
one of the founding members of fucking
So is India,
BRICS.
and TikTok's been banned in India since
True,
2020. So what
true.
I'm saying is that we're not so much friends as puppets. That's what I was
Name
getting
found
at. Is that we're
name
not
founding member
friends.
of
We're
BRICS.
we're being the South African government is being manipulated by China.
America and BRICS. America and BRICS when? Oh god.
No,
BRICS
never gonna
BRICS
happen.
is unironically gonna overtake like NATO or the fuck if they like leave if America leaves like sorry, those are like different things. NATO and BRICS are different things, but like the spheres are the
Mhm.
same. BRICS could
BRICS is
BRICS
an economic.
yeah, NATO's a military alliance,
Uh,
but the sphere that NATO is, like the people that like it are in NATO are also in the same economic sphere. I just can't remember the name that's given to that. I guess it's just the West.
I guess the sort of, but
Anyway, Zhao Hongshu is funny. I think it's funny the cultural overlap that is now happening with the fucking the fucking do any of you like Disco Elysium? It's my favorite game in the world. And then it's in Chinese now. It's so funny. It's so funny. Like we're gonna
I
have
mean, look, Mandarin is the most spoken language in the world.
I think Spanish is the second most. Hold on, what is most spoken languages? A total native speakers. Yeah, Mandarin, Chinese, Spanish, and English are the top three.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. So many people.
yeah,
Hindi, Bengali, Portuguese, Russian. What on this? What is the least? Southern Min, another Chinese language.
yeah. Sino with Sinitic branch languages,
Sinitic.
not to be confused with the Semitic branch
No,
languages.
that's like Jewish. Why does Korean not have its own branch? Is Korean just Korean, its own thing?
Korean is, as far as I understand, like culturally, historically, Koreans are kind of like because of the occupation by the Japanese, there's influences from there, but because of the fact that they are from the Chinese continent, there's influences from there. So it is very possible that they take from both cultures.
So like, yeah, I get, yeah. I see.
Like, look, I do mention my linguistics stuff, but I didn't really look into the Korean specifically,
I
so I
find
don't
Korea
really know.
interesting.
I don't.
I
I
I
don't think there's anything interesting about Korea for me personally. Like that's just a for me
that's
personally. I was
fair.
always a fan of like when was it? It was in somewhere in the 2010s where K-pop really kicked off.
Yeah, like the mid to late 2010s,
But
2018,
in
2017.
in the early 2000s, as far back as the early 2000s, maybe even the 90s, there was a lot of J-rock that was popular, and that's what I got into. So when K-pop came around, I was really like, I'm not a fan of pop music, A, but B, it also like the J-rock was just much, much more awesome.
J-Rock's pretty good. I really like Maximum Hormone.
Next blah mode. But
They're
like
good.
the genre of music I think called visual kei. Do you know it?
Visual Key. No.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up some images. So this is the sort of aesthetic of visual kei,
Oh, yeah,
where
yeah, yeah. It's like
all the guys
scene.
look like the prettiest girls you've ever seen.
Also, it's pronounced K, I'm pretty sure.
Look,
Visual
I
K.
am not going to try. I have heard a billion different pronunciations of this. If
K.
somebody wants to correct me, they can do it in
K.
the fucking comments. We're
Is
not here to.
in Japanese. This is one of the things I remember from when I learned
Okay,
Japanese. The sound like there's no like I don't know the word for it. It's where like when two letters are together, it like makes like E and I make E in English. They don't do that in Japanese. It's just K E. So it's K K
okay.
K K K K.
But we're speaking English here. But Malice Miser is pretty cool.
You all right? You do this speaking English here thing. when you get something wrong, but when I get something wrong and I go, I'm speaking English, like from an Afrikaans thing that I get wrong, you go like,
Look,
that's
there's
not an
there's there's
excuse.
there's a bit of a difference here in that, like, this is something that has been pronounced in a billion different ways by a billion different people constantly outside of Japan. I'm not going to pretend to know which one of those people were right. But when it comes to something like Afrikaans you just mentioned, like, I know how to pronounce that shit.
Yeah, but I don't. Give me
Maybe
some slack.
stylistic origins.
Glam rock, shock rock, heavy metal, punk rock, gothic rock, new wave, progressive rock, alternate rock, electric, and pop. Pop. Local scenes,
These
Nagoya.
but these are some very cool bands, and I would recommend that if you're into K-pop, give these people some time because some of it gets really fucking awesome.
Very Death Note. It's the same.
Well, I mean,
It's the same like
Maximum the
culture. They
Hormone
did the Death Note opening, the second
did
one.
the Death Note was the second season, but
It's
also the
good.
first season was done by a group called
Zetsuo Bailey. That's a song.
that was Maximum the Hormone. Who did the other intro?
I don't remember. Just type in Death Note intro one.
It was a song called The World.
The world.
It's
Nightmare.
Nightmare. Nightmare is another visual key band.
Yeah, this is like the same like attitude as like era as like this and also like Kingdom Hearts is like a baby version of this. If we're not.
Like if we just go to the band, you can see like this is also a visual key. Like
Can you agree with me that Kingdom Hearts is like a baby downed version of this at times with like all those like shadow council people with the big black cloaks and shit? Fucking anime
I
hair.
won't pretend to know much about Kingdom Hearts at all, other than like it's
Just type in Kingdom Hearts Organization 13 or some shit. I think it's that. I think that's what it's called. Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, 13. That's the nerd. It's like that
oh
for
yeah,
babies.
I guess so. But at the same
It's
time,
from the
like
same era too.
this is just generic Japanese bad guy.
Yeah, but it's from the same era, and like a lot of these people also like
Like
Death
this is
Note.
just
Like a lot of these
very
people.
much like generic Japanese dark aesthetic. It's nothing special to me.
True,
Like
true.
this is the but that's kind of why I never got into something like Kingdom Hearts is because it's purely like, oh, Disney and Japan had a baby.
I never got into it because as a kid I fucking hated Disney. Like, I was like, that's for
I don't like
girls. That's
Disney
gay.
either.
That's what I was like when I was a kid.
Oh my goodness. It's not why I didn't like Disney. I just thought
And then I watched Hunchback of Notre
I
Dame and went, I get it.
I didn't like the underlying misogyny of Disney.
Oh, as an 8-year-old, you were thinking about that?
Maybe not in those terms, but I didn't like the aspect of the the man coming to save the princess. I didn't like the angle.
No, I grew up post Disney Renaissance, so all the Disney movies I had when I was growing up were the ones that were like better about that sort of thing. I wasn't growing up with like Sleeping Beauty.
Better is not good though.
Yeah, but like a lot of these were like Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Beauty and the Beast. Those are not movies with like damsel in distress who gets rescued by the man at the end of the day. Like the women in
No,
those
but
movies are better. Like they
all the
actually are.
heroes were the guys. Even in
Not Beauty
Hunchback,
and the
like
Beast.
even well, Beauty and the Beast is kind of like seen to be
No,
well, I wouldn't say that like Belle saves the day.
she saves Beast. They save each other. No, actually, more so she saves him. I like Beauty and the Beast. I hate people who say that movie is Stockholm Syndrome because she is allowed to leave whenever she wants. That is not Stockholm Syndrome.
If not for the implication.
No, she
Let's all be
literally
honest.
leaves. She literally leaves at some point. She leaves because she has to go save her dad. And he's like, "Yeah, go save your fucking dad, dude. Like, go do like." He doesn't keep her there. It's not Stockholm Syndrome. She's not getting. She's held for like a day, and then she's allowed to leave whenever she wants, and she chooses to stay. Fucking hell! And Stockholm syndrome isn't real. Also, it's a thing made up by cops as an
Okay,
excuse
that's
to
a
rape women.
statement.
No, it's a thing that was made up by cops to like rape women. You don't know about
What?
this? You don't know about that? Stockholm syndrome isn't real. It was made up by the police.
I'm just gonna reserve comment on that one.
R/it's bullshit. Yeah. Here from WebMD. Stockholm syndrome isn't a psychological. Instead, it's a way of understanding the emotional response. Yeah, it's not a psychological diagnosis, so which means it's not a real thing.
No, just because it's not a
Here,
psychological
here. It is a
diagnosis.
contested illness. Uh, Here's a bunch of criticisms. Here, we'll go to the newest one from Jess Hill in her 2019 treatise on domestic violence. It's a dubious pathology with no diagnostic criteria, riddled with misogyny and founded on a lie. She also noted that 2008 literature review, most diagnoses of Stockholm syndrome are made by the media and not by psychologists or psychiatrists. Hill's analysis revealed Stockholm syndrome authorities, under the guise, responded to the robbery in a way that would put hostages at risk. As well, she observed that, yeah. So it like
Look, I'm not going to defend it as any kind of diagnosis. I don't believe it's that, but it is definitely a phenomenon that I have seen people go through.
yeah, but like
Because, like, look, in South Africa, domestic violence against women and children is a massive issue here.
I think,
And in those situations, you see a lot of women who are very clearly abused by the men in their lives
but
who
aren't they
will
just
defend those men.
putting up a face though? Like it's not like
It's a defense
it's a
mechanism.
defense mechanism. It's not like a genuine love. Stockholm syndrome
Exactly.
implies a genuine love.
No, but that's the thing is that then you're sort of putting implications there that aren't necessarily true. What I'm saying is more along the lines of in order to survive, you have to lie to yourself.
Yeah, that's real, but that's not Stockholm syndrome.
But once you start lying to yourself often enough and strongly enough, you know, in a domestic abuse situation, you're 99.9% of the time this includes a form of gaslighting.
Yeah.
This breaks your ability to logic things
Yeah.
properly. Like you can no longer apply logic to situations in the same way. Like you can see another abusive relationship and point to that and say that's abusive, but experiencing the very same things in your own life, you would call it not abusive because it's a defense mechanism you come up with. I don't think that in and of itself it can be used as something diagnostic. I don't think that in and of itself it is something you can point to, but it's definitely a real phenomenon that happens in order for a person to protect themselves from what they're doing to themselves.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll accept that. That's fair.
Yeah, like
Besides,
I don't necessarily think that you could put that in the DSM, for example.
no, no. We're getting a little too off topic with what we're talking about. I'm not qualified to be talking about Stockholm syndrome. What were we talking about? We're talking about like we talk about K. I don't know. Want
Jade,
to talk about
Sarah.
the new Nintendo Switch, the new
I
console?
mean, sure,
This is big
I don't,
news.
I'm
I
coming at
care
this
about
from
this.
being not a Nintendo fan,
This is
but
big. Oh,
sure,
I have a
like,
video. I have the video pulled up.
you have the video
The
pulled up.
release,
Well, then
the
pull it
launch
up.
video. Okay, I have it pulled up right here. Let me make sure
Just
it's
mute it.
just mute it. Well, I want to. It's no. There's no. It's just like sound effects.
No, just, it's Nintendo, mute it.
No, no. There's no
I am
music.
not,
It's just sound
I'm
effects.
just gonna cut this out if I edit this.
No, you could just fine. But I'm gonna be silent during it. So like here's the
I'm not fucking with Nintendo.
fine. So here's the thing. It got bigger, and then they like show like it's like I think this is neat. It's completely silent except for the sound effects, and they're nice on my eye. They're nice on my ears. They're nice on my ear. They're adding
I
ports
mean,
that weren't on the original Switch. A bigger back
adding
brace, which is
ports.
good because the original back brace for the Switch sucked ass. Like that thing breaks so easy. This looks like it'll
I
break
did.
though.
Yeah, that does look like it's liable to break.
Bigger Joy Cons, which is nice
I
because they're
mean,
pretty small.
they don't look like comfortable controllers.
They're pretty comfy. They're just a little small. Like I have the Switch right next to me right now. I'm holding the controllers in my hand now. They're kind of small. Like your fingers can touch your hands, like your palms, pretty easily if you just leave your like pinkies down far enough. I think a bit bigger
Yeah,
on this would be very nice, actually.
but I feel like these are awkward controllers.
They are for a lot of people, but I think they work. They work. Like they look awkward, like how a GameCube controller looks awkward. But when you're actually holding one, it's like, yeah, this actually works. Especially when
Because
you have it handheld.
say what you will about like the DualShock when it first got introduced. Like, let me pull up the PS2 controller was
Well,
the
I'm
first
gonna
one.
finish them showing off what this controller looks like because there's actually more to the controller. This is the full thing.
Okay. Okay.
This is the full thing. Because now they don't slide on anymore. Now they pop onto the side with that little like connector here.
I see the connector.
So instead of sliding how the other ones do, they pop on. And now they also increased the size that this bumper has, which is a big issue that had the original controllers had. There's a jack here, which is good to see. A sync. There's the sync button. This looks like a trigger or something. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't know what this is. I guess that's
It
like
it
the
lacks
screenshot.
it lacks a sense of ergonomics.
Yeah, that's fair. I will maintain that these work when you get your hands on them, the Joy-Cons. I like they feel nice when you get your hands on them. They showed there's also like these new braces sort of like this new thing that's going on under the thing. I'm thinking they're trying to imply that Joy-Con drift has been an issue that they're trying to go work against. Analog buttons, those are probably clicky clacky nice and nice. Yeah. And then look at the Joy-Cons are drifting. Not in the bad way. They're drifting though. And then they pop onto the side because now there's these things here. They snap on.
I feel like those pins are gonna break.
Yeah, no, that's what I felt too. That's what I felt when I first saw this.
Like that's what I look at with game hardware is like what are the breaking points, and there are just a
Yeah,
lot of them here.
that was the big thing I noticed. I mentioned it in my server. Like, I don't like that like pin. I think that's gonna break pretty easily. It's got to be sturdy as fuck. But I kind of trust Nintendo because normally the build quality of their consoles is pretty solid. Like, say what you want about them, they make some pretty durable consoles. I don't think I've ever had a console break that wasn't just my pure stupidity when I shoved a Scooby Doo DVD backwards into my Wii when I was like 8 years old. That was the only time I broke a Nintendo console. But like I've had PS4s like fucking be like, actually no, I'm gonna die on you. I've had like my Xbox One just turn off. My PS5 occasionally just shuts off completely, like mid game. It'll just be like boop, and it's like, oh, actually, it's because the thing got too hot playing a game on the PS4. Fuck you. I've never had that happen with like a Nintendo console. So like, I don't know if this will be like too bad, but they pop in and out. It's called the Nintendo Switch 2, which I hope is a working title, but it probably won't be, knowing how they did the Wii U. Um, yeah, that's the console. They show off Mario Kart 9. Like, this is a new Mario Kart game. I could tell because they're new models. This is not the Mario Kart 8 model for Mario. You can really tell with the Donkey Kong model back there. I'm excited for this. Yeah, you can see over here, like, you can see that is not Mario Kart 8 Donkey Kong. That motherfucker's got, like, the classic black around his eyes. This is not a Mario Kart 8 course. Brand new Mario Kart game coming. That's pretty fucking cool. 2025 this year. And then they specify that it is
Yeah.
completely backwards compatible both physically and digitally, which is good to know. I think
Alright.
I think this is a good console announcement.
I mean, it's fair. I mean, look, I'm definitely coming at it from the perspective of not being a Nintendo fan. So I don't feel one way or another about it. It's not a console I'll ever buy with my own money.
No.
Unless I was like really stupid rich. Like if I had money to burn,
Fuck
I'd
yeah.
probably buy one
Fuck
just
yeah.
to have all the consoles. But it does make me think of like controllers throughout the years, right?
Which is a good topic.
And if you look at like PlayStation, for example, I feel like this was a damn good concept. The PlayStation 1 controller was really good conceptually and improved massively with the PlayStation 2.
Yeah. I kind of want to like hold on.
PlayStation
Before we
3,
move on to the controllers though, I kind of want to like wrap up something I wanted to say about the Switch 2.
yeah,
Um, a lot of people were like really upset at like because the Switch 2 was leaked a bit earlier. Like everyone kind of knew the next console was a Switch 2, and a lot of people were getting really angry that the Switch 2 was a Switch 2 and not like something brand new. And it's like in the landscape we're in with the consoles and stuff and gaming in general, PC gaming is kinda dominant. Like
yeah.
the newest consoles are just lower end PCs, except for Nintendo, which is doing its own thing. So like Nintendo doing its own thing with the Switch, which is the best selling console they've had. I think other than the Wii. No, I think it actually sold more than the Wii.
So
Like
as somebody who doesn't like Nintendo, I will say I kind of do like that conceptually they're not trying to be gaming
because
PCs.
they can't get that. They
Whereas
can't get a yeah.
both Sony and Microsoft are making gaming consoles that are essentially just shitty PCs for double the price.
Yeah, I think Xbox Series X is the last Xbox. I don't think we're getting another Xbox. And if we do, it's just gonna be a PC. Like they're gonna make Xbox PCs where they're like pre-built for people to buy who are like they want to get into the PC market or they want to get into the PC landscape, but they don't know what to do. So they're gonna sell Xbox PCs. You
I
know,
mean, that's fair.
I think that's actually a good idea because a lot of people don't know what they're doing when they're buying a PC. I certainly wasn't when I was first buying my first computer. I want to buying
Yeah,
some piece of shit.
computers are complicated.
Yeah, they're complicated. I think
And
selling like
like
a pre-made one could work
controllers,
well.
though.
Hold on, not yet, not yet. This is
I'm on the controller thing, man.
not yet because that's a whole topic I could go on for hours. We're fine.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to
th-
switch over to it.
this is
Because
my
like gaming PCs are a different beast altogether.
yeah. Like
Because what you're talking about is PCs are not a product made by a company.
no, it
They're
is
a combination of different kinds of technologies combined into a machine.
yeah.
You got Intel making one piece, you got
Nvidia graphics card.
NVIDIA graphics card with, like it's something you need to understand a little bit about how these pieces get put together because pre-built machines aren't aren't that great.
My machine's pre-built because I don't know what I'm doing.
I mean, it's fair, but just I recommend for your upgrade when that time comes. If you don't know what you're doing, talk to somebody who does.
You.
Because that's what I did. I won't pretend to know everything about
High
PCs. I have a
tech.
pretty good grasp.
High
Yeah,
tech.
this high tech. But
The
I
man
have a
who
pretty
is Mr. Computer.
yeah.
He'd definitely help. Anyway, Nintendo would never be able to make something like a PC. They can't compete. They've tried their best to compete at like a next gen console. And like both times they did that, the Wii U and the GameCube, it just didn't work. It didn't work at all. The GameCube
I
was not
don't think the
powerful enough,
Wii
and
was
no, the Wii U was trying to be a modern HD console.
I think it was they're moving over to HD, but I don't think it was trying to compete on the same
Well,
level.
no, because in the initial era of the Wii U, they were trying to get Activision to put like big Activision like shooter like Call of Duty and stuff. They tried to get a survival horror game on there. They tried to get a couple survival game horrors on there. They wanted it to be like
But
an
I feel
Xbox
like
One.
that was less about trying to compete with like PlayStation and more
No,
about
they
trying
kind
to
of were.
expand the the people buying their console.
Well,
Like, oh, you don't need to buy the PlayStation to play this.
the
Like
biggest
it was at
criticism.
the end of the day, the hardware just wasn't there because that's not the type of hardware they
The
make.
biggest criticism that the Wii had was that it was for kids. Like it was a kids console. It was a gimmick joke console for kids. So the Wii U was trying to be more serious by having a controller that wasn't. It was a gimmick, but this is because this is where Nintendo fucked up. They wanted to make a console that was more serious, that would get a more general audience, but still had a stupid gimmick controller that was worse than the original Wii. I love the Wii U. I think the Wii U is like so funny. It is a joke, but it's my joke. I love the Wii U so much, but like it definitely was a failure. It was definitely them trying to compete with like the Xbox One, and they also tried because the Xbox One was like trying to be a home media console. So was the Wii U. The Wii U gamepad has a TV button that brings up a TV remote that you were meant to control the TV with your gamepad. What the fuck? What the
I mean,
fuck?
that's what all the consoles were trying to do in that
Not the
generation,
PS4.
I
The
feel like.
PS4 was trying to just be a game console.
No, like from PlayStation 3 already, they were pushing the idea that they're a media center because the PlayStation 3 was the only
Yeah.
one of its generation that had Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing is, the PS4, I remember advertising for the Xbox One was
And
almost
I
exclusively it as like a media center. The PS4 had advertisements for games.
and I had a PlayStation 3, and I can tell you that like
I had a PS3 for
it
a bit
it
too.
def- it definitely tried to be more a media center than just a gaming thing.
I think the
Like if you
PS3 was
look
more
at
of a
the
media center
UI
advertisement than PS4.
and the downloadable apps and stuff like that, it was definitely leaning into more the media center thing than just a gaming console.
Yeah, I definitely agree with it for
And
PS3. Not for much for PS4 though. I think it's for PS3 because the PS2 became that even without like that being the main focus. Like the PS2
it's
was the first
it's
like of
because
that
do you know why?
because it could play DVDs.
No, not just that. It wasn't just the fact that it could play DVDs. It was the fact that it could play DVDs and was cheaper than a lot of DVD players on the market.
That is true. I didn't remember that part.
Yeah, well, I'm old enough to have been a part of that sort of generation, but eventually, especially a few years into its life cycle, like you were spending 5-6 thousand rand on a DVD player, or you could spend 5-6 thousand rand on a PlayStation 2 and it played DVDs.
And also
Why
games.
why yeah, and also games. Like why buy a DVD player at that
It's great
rate?
for families too because you were able to be like, oh, we can buy this for the kids, and then we can also use it to watch movies as a family together, and like that's a nice entertainment piece to put there. And it doesn't look like a joke to have it there. It looks like a part of the media center, so you don't feel like. So a lot of parents who
Mm.
are like families who are like, oh, we have to have an image. No, you put it there. It looks nice. People who care about that sort of thing, because that is a genuine thing that pushes a lot of people from buying some consoles as if they look dumb. Like I'm not joking. That's real.
Yeah, I mean, like there is a certain level of aesthetics that comes to a lot of people's media center setups.
I want a good media center setup so bad. I love it so much. Just like things laid out. Like, oh my God, so much. I love that type of stuff. Like, damn. I could talk about, because the thing is, normally in the podcast, we talk about stuff that I feel is very much in your wheelhouse, which is a lot of music and stuff. But as soon as you enter the
Really,
domain of like video
Nintendo.
game consoles, of like the video game history, I'm just like, oh, this is my wheelhouse now. This is my territory.
That's why I thought it would be interesting to bring up like the controller things because I was
Bring up the
gonna go
controllers.
like, all right, so like the PlayStation, for example, right? I
Yeah,
think the PlayStation 1 of its era had one of the best controller designs. Because prior to this, it was
SNES. It was
the
Genesis.
SNES, Sega Genesis, stuff like that. And I feel like those controllers weren't necessarily bad. Like, there were much
I
worse
love the
controllers
SNES
throughout
controller.
history. But this was really form and function coming together in a way that it hadn't before.
Yeah, especially compared to the stuff that was out at the time. Like at the time, it was the Sega Saturn, which I can't even remember the Sega Saturn remote off the top of my head. I can only remember what the console barely looks like. And then there's the N64 remote, which is unique. It's unique. That's all I can say. That's the Saturn. Yep, that's the Saturn. It was
This is actually awful.
yeah.
I
This
mean, look at this version.
Sega's got bad controllers, except for the Dreamcast. I
But
think the
like,
Dreamcast controller is pretty tight.
you could see the thought process is beginning here.
Yeah, it's like you saw a cookie
Right?
mold of a of a
There's
controller.
there's there's nowhere to really place your hand.
Yeah,
is
that's a
really the
massive
problem with it.
D-pad too.
Yeah, there's nowhere to really put your hand. Whereas I feel like these revolutionized like how controllers went going forward because you can see
Yeah,
every iteration of it since then. And even if you go over to like the Xbox controllers,
I
the
love the
first one
360
I think was
controller.
awful.
You know the big
I
the
think
dude.
the
Yeah,
first one was awful.
I think that second remodel for the original Xbox is pretty good.
But you can see
Yeah, it's
it's
starting to get to the
the
thing.
big thing is taking away the bulk, shaving away, like cutting the fat,
Yeah,
right? That's a
keeping
good
a
way to put
place
it.
for your hands.
But
The
every
first
iteration
the
now
first 360
has
controller is so good though. Like the way it feels in your hands, that first 360 controller, it looks cheap. But that's because you gotta, you know, sometimes it's like a bag of chips. It's like it feels cheap, but it's so nice.
yeah. But I will say, as far as PlayStation is concerned, all the way up to the 3, they were doing fine. But this was dumb.
You don't like you don't like the big pad in the middle.
I didn't like this trackpad idea
That's
at
the name.
all.
That's the trackpad.
I didn't like it at all. I think it was the touchpad they called it. But I think this was gimmicky. I feel like this is
It's pretty
gimmicky.
gimmicky. The use of it hasn't ever been a trackpad since like early PlayStation 4. I don't think they've ever
Right.
used it as a trackpad.
It's
And
not something that
they only have it on the
simple
PS5
to
remotes for
design
backwards
for.
compatibility.
Right.
They
It's not something you design for.
they tried to do a Nintendo where you do a gimmick with your controller, but the thing with Nintendo is Nintendo kind of doesn't rely on third-party support, which means they develop everything themselves for the most part, which means they
Yeah.
intend their games to work with their gimmicks. The PS5 kind
Yes.
of doesn't.
No, exactly. But I don't like the PS5 controller design.
I think it's better than the PS4. I just think the colors for the base controller are kind of weird. I have an all black one and it looks really, really nice. I think the white and the
But
black kind of makes it look like armor. It looks like someone's armor from a video game.
this looks and feels sturdy. And it was.
Yeah, PlayStation 3.
And when it comes to like the difference between the two, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to the difference between the two, my like for PlayStation over the Xbox was I'm not a fan of the
Of the like
what do you
of
call it?
the circle pad, the circle D pad, the
No,
cross
the it's not when it's equal on both sides.
equal on both sides? Parallel? I don't know. Equal on both sides.
Yes.
Um
Symmetrical. I
Symmetry.
don't
Oh my
like
god.
the asymmetry. I don't like the asymmetry.
Oh,
I'm not a
you
fan
mean
of the
like the one
asymmetry.
controller like one pad up, one pad down? I like it. I think it's maybe it's because I grew up with that, but like I think it works. Like I think the thing is the PlayStation are the only people who do the both on the bottom. It definitely works, but I think so does the Xbox controller. Like they both work. I think at that
They
point it's a
do
matter of
both
preference.
work. I think that my criticism there isn't so much a criticism as much as it is personal preference. But I was never a fan of the asymmetry, and anytime I did pick up an Xbox controller from any of the generations, any of them, that was the thing that put me off physically because I did like the sort of symmetry of this. This made sense on a design level as well.
It does make more intuitive sense, but I feel from like a natural hand perspective, the Xbox controller also makes sense. Because
They do
hands
make
aren't
sense.
like it's not it's like a grip on things isn't always symmetrical. So like
Yeah,
kind of just you got more of a
they
grip on the
do
360.
both make sense, but beyond making sense, there's just a different
Yeah, I get you.
aesthetic to it,
Yeah,
if that
totally. I
makes sense.
understand what you're describing. Yeah. Now,
So it's purely a personal preference thing, but yeah, it's just
if
I still will take a symmetrical controller over the asymmetry that's now more common.
if
Even
you want, oh sorry. You can finish what you're saying.
No, like even if you had the best version of either of these, I would take the symmetry.
Fair. Now, if you want insane progression of controllers, just Google like Nintendo controllers and have like a graphic like we have of these PlayStation ones. There is no consistency. Each console is fucking different. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah, this is what I was
This isn't even
referring to with
accurate. Like this skips out
prior
on
to
the
PlayStation.
N64. Hold on.
Yeah,
Skips on the
I mean,
N64. There, yeah, see there. I guess this is a shit graphic, but like you got NES, SNES, which is a progression of the NES, and then three hands. The N64
this
controller
is
is
a dumb
weird.
idea.
The
This is a dumb
the
idea.
philosophy for that is that there's three ways to hold it that change depending on what game you're playing. Some games you hold the middle and left the middle and left one. Sometimes you hold the middle and right one. Sometimes you hold the left and the right one. Sometimes
It's
you hold
unintuitive.
it is
Right?
unintuitive, but also like
Is this it says 96, right? Like what was the release date of the
I
PS1?
think it was 1998. I'm gonna say it was 98.
95.
95.
So yes, it's very
Oh
old.
my god.
So this was a response to the PlayStation controller. This was Nintendo's answer to PlayStation 1. And it's like
I
you
might be thinking
didn't
of
they it's just a case in my mind of like you didn't get it. You
the
you
Why?
you didn't get it. You didn't understand.
You didn't understand. But then they do the
Like,
GameCube controller.
I
What do
mean,
you think of the
what's
GameCube
that? That's
controller?
one. I think that they eventually learned their lesson. They failed to learn here, but it's ugly.
I love the GameCube controller. It is
Here's an actual like
it's
like
so ugly, but I love it
what
so much.
is that kind of gap in the
It's a
design?
thigh
What
gap.
ew. Ew. Just ew.
Scott the was. Scott the was. Scott the was. That's a Wavebird. That's the wireless controller for the GameCube.
It's awful.
It's pretty bad.
But it's just
I
really
love it. It
no.
feels so
Really no.
nice though. The big fucking green A button is so nice. Big green A button and the buttons orbiting it. It like the games really are kind of designed around it. And then you have the
I
Wii
feel
remote.
like the NES was the best versions of traditional game
No,
controllers as we think
SNES.
of today.
The NES is like too hard on the
The
palms.
different
It's too
versions of
sharp.
the NES. The versions of the NES. All the things listed NES.
No, the SNES was better because the NES
Sure,
is just
I'm
hard
just
on the
saying
palms.
it's conceptually the same thing as this with more buttons.
Fair. I just think
I'm just calling out all of the NES versions here as the best versions of their controllers. Whether it's SNES, BNES, ANES, I don't care. They were the best versions of what we consider today as traditional
that
controllers.
I agree with. Yeah, that I agree with. For so after GameCube was was the Wii. The Wii remote. The Wii remote got a lot of shit back in the day. With like,
It is not a great game controller.
it was made to. I think the purpose it was made for was to bring people who are only familiar with TV remotes into video games, and that was the pure success behind the Wii. It's a very intuitive like way to hold it. You hold it in your hand like a TV remote, and the buttons are laid out lengthwise. And for the Wii, because the Wii is extremely unique, for the Wii, it works. And the thing about the Wii remote that really kind of helped it was all the extensions you add onto it, like the nunchuck. And there's also they show that those two controllers over there. They say GameCube 2009 and Wii 2006. Those are Wii remote extensions you just plug into the Wii remote and play with them instead of the Wii remote. If you were to play like a shooter or something, you can plug in that, and it's like $5 you can go buy and just plug it in and play with it instead. Like the Wii remote is intuitive, but it's also extremely dumb. It is extremely dumb. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
remember playing. I remember playing on this.
It's a nice
I do
controller.
remember playing on this.
I'm not
It
gonna pretend like it
it
isn't.
felt cheaper than it looks. Think about that statement.
Yeah, it's like premium look, but
It
it's
it
like cheap as
it
shit.
felt
The
no,
fuck
but
is it?
it looks pretty cheap as well. Like you can
Well,
see the
that's
cheap
that's not an
plastic.
official controller. I don't know what the fuck that is. There.
I don't know, like either way, you can see the cheap plastic, right?
I don't know if
Like
this.
it was like this thing was as light as air.
I just think it's a little too hard on your fucking hands. That's my
It is, but there is a part of me that looks back on this nostalgically and it's like, I remember this.
like
I remember just like having two buttons and directions.
it is a very nice feeling to have that. But sometimes when I'm playing after when my fucking I don't know what the hell this bullshit is. What the fuck is this shit? Knock off controllers.
It's turbo.
Oh god,
It's
turbo
turbo.
mode where it just fucking it fucking mock renders. I love mock renders so much.
You can see the AI shining off this.
No, this one isn't AI. This one doesn't look like. At least maybe it's because it's blurry quality for me. I can't really tell. That one looks like a render someone made in like Blender. Yeah,
And
Super
some of these
Nintendo.
are just awful.
No, Super Nintendo's. Anyway, the fucking Wii U gamepad. What a fucking hold on. What a bizarre controller. There's so many things on here. This thing weighs like 3 ounces. There's so
The
much
fuck is an ounce?
light. It's very light. It's very light. It's what makes up a pound. I don't know how
What
many
the
ounces are in
fuck
a
is a
pound.
pound?
A pound is like I don't know how it's 1 ounce is 28 grams. And
That's
one
pretty light.
1 pound is 453 grams.
So like less than half a kilogram.
Yeah. This thing weighs like fucking nothing. It's like actually like paper. There's so much wasted space in here. Like this is an NFC touch point for amiibos and Skylanders. Like this is for
Mm.
amiibos. This is for amiibos. But
Oh, the gimmicks keep rolling in.
so you have the air vents that are speakers. These are the
All the
speakers.
money that
We have
Nintendo has
we have the
wasted
microphone
on
light
trying to
that
make
shows
up
if the mic is
gimmicks could
on.
have gone to curing cancer.
We have the home screen button. We have the battery life. The TV control button that I mentioned. This was on every single Wii U console until the Wii U was discontinued. They never got rid of this feature. This was always a feature. I don't even know how you use this feature. Power button, select start on the same side over here. Your buttons, your D-pad, and then the things at the very top. This looks like it doesn't work, but oh my god, it does. It does. Also, there's a touchscreen in the middle.
Also, Nintendo's like the whole thing
Here's the
of
back of
making
it.
multiple screens made emulation really awkward.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know how the fuck you would I don't know how the hell you emulate a Wii U game. I'm not gonna lie. So to be fair, a lot of Wii U games never used the second screen. A lot of Wii U games, especially towards the later half of
No,
its
but that
life.
was more a Game Boy thing.
Yeah, well, game DS, not Game Boy. Game Boy is one screen. Um,
Yeah, that's what was the DS?
the DS, the dual screen.
Yeah. Yes, but what was the DS? What before DS? What in a sentence would you type to bring up the DS?
What? What did you just say to me?
Is it just a Nintendo
Yeah, it's
DS?
just the Nintendo DS.
It's not
It's
a
just
Game Boy
no,
DS.
it's the Nintendo DS. It's got nothing to do with Game Boy. This is a new line. Like it went Game Boy, Game
Ah,
Boy, Game Boy
yeah,
Color,
not a
Game Boy
Nintendo.
Advance, and then
Not a,
DS, 3DS. Like it's a new line. It's the successor to the Game Boy line. You
oh,
look,
maybe that's more what I was thinking of. Is that it is
it's the
a
DS.
successor to the Game Boy
I had a DS Lite.
line of consoles,
This
but
is what I had as a kid. I loved this thing so much. This is so solid. This is just so fucking good.
I wonder if I can bring up an image of what I had as a kid.
Tell me when you bring it up. Oh, this one specifically is the one I had. The red on top, black on the bottom. This is the one I specifically had. This one was so
Oh
nice.
wow, I actually found the very first result is exactly the one I had.
Oh, what, a Game Boy? Or like PSP? Oh, Game Boy Color. Yeah, no, this is the classic Game Boy Color. This is the one that pretty much everyone had.
Like this is, but this color as well, like the
Yeah.
purple with like
This
translucent,
this is
like
this is the one that like everyone like uses for images. Yeah.
this was what I had as my first and only Nintendo product.
The Game Boy
And
Color
I
is pretty
only had
nice.
one game.
What game was it?
Pokemon.
Pokemon? Oh hell yeah.
Yep,
Was it one of the Gen 2 games or Gen 1 games?
Gen 1,
Gen 1.
Red.
So one of the
I think it was
things,
Fire Red, like
well, no,
it
Fire Red
was
was Game Boy Advance
well, it was, yeah, then it was just red, but it was
in
the
color.
color
Yeah, because I'm
version.
about to mention the Game Boy Color did something that I really, really, really think is cool, where the old Game Boy games were coded with color in mind, but because the Game Boy couldn't project color, they didn't have the color. So the Game Boy Color, for games that had color coded into it, they had color. And the Pokemon games had color coded into them. So did like I think Tetris, I think maybe. Some games also didn't have color coded into them, but Nintendo re-released them as like new versions, like Link's Awakening got released as Link's Awakening DX, which had new content and also color now. And I think that's the best way to play the original Link's Awakening. But that game's also like amazing too. By the way, anyone who wants to play a classic Zelda game, play Link's Awakening DX. Very good. Um,
There's always the option of playing good games too,
you
but
can
you
play
know,
Link's
you
Awakening
can
HD on the Switch, which is a great remaster of it. I might stream that one day. That's like one of my favorite games. Um,
yeah,
but
just check your emails after you stream it for your excuse me, you have shown people Nintendo software. How dare you?
but the
Nintendo's lawyers just being like, listen, listen.
listen. This an image like this. This is the DSi. I never had a DSi. It was like the more upgraded version of a DS. It had like online. It had more online support. It had a store, like It had like the eShop on it. It had like more features to it, and it had a microphone. I think the DS had a microphone, but this had a camera and stuff. So like it was a bigger version of a DS too. But like just seeing like classic Pokemon Black and White played on a DS. This is my nostalgia. And then they released the 3DS. This is the original 3DS. I think the original 3DS kind of sucks. It feels kind of cheap. But
No
the
comment. I've run out of comments on Nintendo stuff, honestly.
but like the 3DS XL is pretty nice. This was pretty nice. I'm also pretty nostalgic for this because like this is just so long ago at this point. This was like 2014 or some shit that this came out. That's like 11 fucking years ago. Saying that 2014 is now 11 years ago kind of fucking hurts. I'm starting to actually feel old. I'm gonna be 21 this year. I'm an old head now. I'm gonna become an old head. I don't want to become an old head.
You could legally touch alcohol.
I think this is the best-selling video game console, handheld of all time. I think it is. Where would they say that on here? Yeah, best-selling. Yeah, the best-selling is the PS2, but then yeah, the DS is the best-selling handheld, with only 6 million less than the PS2. Then it's the Switch, Game Boy, and Game Boy Color. These are grouped together because Nintendo hates to say that these are two separate consoles. They're separate consoles. These are separate. It's the one you had. It's the Wikipedia picture.
Yeah.
They refuse to consider these separate consoles. PS4, PlayStation 1, the Wii. Oh, the Wii only just broke 100 million. I guess it's kind of like the
Well,
first console
consider
to.
the Game Boy Color is akin to like the PSX or like the second generation PlayStation 2. Like it's just
but it had its own games exclusive to it.
Mm.
Like they had their own stuff on the Game Boy. The V Smile. I had a V Smile. I had one of these.
Looks ugly.
It's disgusting. It's I think it's from like fucking Brazil or some shit. It's like it is not a good console. This is an education console. It is not good. It is not good. Look at the games you can play. You can play Alphabet Park.
I mean, it has its market.
I had this when I was like
I
8.
don't think people should be like outsourcing their children's learning to video games, but
I did
I do believe that video games can be a good avenue for learning, but I don't think people should outsource like their learning to video games
I think you should just see what these games are, honestly.
that.
Is the V Smile. This I had a V Smile. I'm not gonna like be ashamed of that. Alphabet Park. Fuck yeah. I played this game a lot. This is exact Oh my god, this is so nostalgic.
Is it just your internet, or did this game run at like
This is how the
5
game
frames per
this is how the
second?
game runs.
Oh, that's awful.
These sound effects. I don't think I actually made I made it. This is the level I always remember replaying because I didn't know how to actually play video games. This is it. This I'm gonna stream this game.
That's awful.
There was a SpongeBob game that I would play on here too. I had this one because my grandparents bought me this console before I was born, so they didn't know if I was gonna be a boy or a girl. So they bought me this. They would never have bought me this if they knew I was gonna turn out to be male. This guy's got everything, bro. Bro's got the whole thing. And apparently dental fun facts. What the fuck is this? Oh, I just googled V Smile. I thought this was one channel. Okay, hold on, never mind. I'm going crazy. Anyway, the V Smile sucked ass. This thing's a piece of shit. Look at this fucking thing. Red Dead. I don't think this thing is English. I don't think this thing is an American company. Advanced. It is. It's China. Chinese company.
Yeah.
This was a Chinese console. I was loving it though. It apparently sold more than the Dreamcast by a lot. 11 million.
Yeah, Sega kind of dropped off hard.
They really fucking I want a Dreamcast so bad though.
Some
This
of the most wild games ever made were made for the Dreamcast.
I own one Dreamcast game and it is a JoJo video game.
Of course.
I don't own a Dreamcast though. It's JoJo Heritage of the Future. Hold on. Yeah, it's a Capcom fighting game from the 90s. It's very fun. I like it a lot. It's a classic. This is the Mugen version. It's a very big classic game. I love it a lot. But I own it for the Dreamcast Japanese version of it. I don't own a Dreamcast though. So like a Dreamcast, I want one of these. The console. I'm not talking about the controller, but the console design itself, I think, is so solid.
Okay,
It's
but it
so
just
sleek.
looks like a more boxy PlayStation 1.
Okay, but like, are we gonna really say that that's like a bad thing? Here's the version that my
I
brother
mean,
has. This is the version of PlayStation 1 that my brother owns. It's
yes, this was the
the Slim.
PSX.
This is the PS. I thought it was the Slim. Or am I thinking of the PS2? That's called the
I
Slim.
Yeah, I don't know if it was called the Slim or whatever, but I remember it being called like PSX.
Mm. This is the one that we have, yeah.
That could just be like
It
me misremembering though.
could be a different, like, country thing. This is pretty cool. They released, like, a different version of the PS5 for the 30th anniversary. The thing about special edition consoles, though, is who the fuck's gonna buy this that doesn't already own a PlayStation 5? Like, these are so expensive. Like, a special edition controller, an anniversary controller, that makes sense. This doesn't
Those are
make
also
any sense.
expensive.
Yeah, but these are expensive, but, like, you're supposed to have multiple controllers. Like multiple controllers is an okay thing to own. Who's gonna fucking buy a second PS5 if they don't if they already own one? Because if you're a
You
PlayStation
know the
fan,
cool feature of the PlayStation 2?
tell me.
The fact that you could lay it flat or stand it up.
Yeah, that's definitely a positive. But like I'm looking at these side to side. The only other one that can do that is the PS5. You can't do that with a PS3. You can't do that with a
I think you can.
PS4. Look at
I think you
that!
technically can.
Look at this.
It doesn't look great, but you could do it.
You
You couldn't do it with a
could.
PS1.
You definitely could have known. You couldn't do it with a PS4. This you can't do this. This thing is like this looks weird, but like the PS4 has a slant. If you were to really lay it on its side, it would lean like this way. PS5 is made to be stood up though like that. It actually looks
Yeah,
weirder laid down on its side.
but the PlayStation 2, it was just, it's so good. It's so good. Like, there's no real criticism I can levy at the PS2.
There really kind of isn't, other than being a whiny bitch and being like, "Well, it's not the Xbox 360. It's not the GameCube."
Thing is that the first Xbox came out after this and was still not as
So good,
powerful,
so good. It's so good.
right?
What? I'm sorry. I'm gushing over the Dreamcast.
No, I just said the the original Xbox came out after the PS2 and was still not as powerful.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I think so. The Xbox One, the original Xbox, had like a pretty bad early couple of like years. Like it didn't really like it didn't. It wasn't perfect. Like it wasn't bad, but it could have been a lot better for other consoles. But the 360 absolutely blew the PS3 out of the water for most of its life until the PS3 had a huge price cut and and
Yeah,
Xbox
the
slowed
price of the
down.
PS3 was part of the problem.
The price and
And as far as I understood, upon release, and for a long time after, this is something that Sony's actually guilty of for multiple generations, because I think the PS4 also had this problem, was there were no games for it.
oh yeah, the PS3 had nothing. The PS3 because it was hard to develop for. So a lot of third-party developers kind of did the thing that normally they do to Nintendo, where they're like, "We're not going to develop for you for a bit," and they all went to Xbox for a long time. Like a lot of the big name games for that you would have been for PlayStation went to Xbox, except for a lot of the Japanese developers, like a lot like
Well, it
Konami.
makes
They're gonna
sense.
stay on
Like,
PlayStation. But like
Sony
anyone like
is a
Activision,
Japanese company.
EA, they all went to Xbox for a bit.
Do you know back in the day what I found incredibly funny
Tell me,
was when the Xbox started putting Blu-ray players in their consoles.
that was Xbox
It was
One.
incredibly funny to me that essentially every Xbox One sold made Sony money because
Blu-ray
Sony
is Sony.
owns Blu-ray technology.
That's very
Therefore,
funny. That is extremely funny.
every time they sold an Xbox One, Sony would get paid.
What was
And
the
that
Blu-ray's
to
competitor?
me,
I
uh,
forget what it was called.
don't HD DVD.
Betamax?
No, Betamax was the old VHS competitor.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was like, that
There were
doesn't sound right.
DVDs, which I also
HD
believe was
DVD,
Sony technology,
which
and
was
then
supposed
HD
lost out to
DVD.
Blu-ray. Yes, okay. DVD is one of those is DVD in a situation where it's like Band-Aid where it's like the product is synonymous with the brand, whereas DVD not in itself tied to a specific brand.
Well, it's a format, but the technology was developed and made by that company.
Fair, fair. I guess it's in this kind of realm
Like
it's a little
like the same way that Blu-ray like is the brand, but it is also the technology.
this is a
Like you
realm.
don't see Microsoft Blu-ray.
No, you don't. You'll see Sony. This is a realm of technology that interests me, but I don't know that much about. Just like the physical side of like
Like you've come into a
like
lot of this
public
stuff
facing.
because of this is mostly because of you being younger, but you've come into it in generations where non-physical media has
Well,
overtaken.
no. I grew up with VHSs. I grew up in the
I'm not saying
transitionary
that you grew
period.
up with. I'm saying you as a gamer.
Oh, me as
You
okay, yes,
as
yes, 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 yes. As an
entering
adult.
this realm of technology as an adult. You've come in at a point where we are beyond this kind of shipped physical
I
media,
think I'm in a
right? Like,
very unique position because as a kid, I was still like the VHSs, DVDs were like kind of rare-ish. Well, not rare, but like my house had a lot more VHSs than DVDs for a long time. And then eventually DVDs were everywhere. And then that was like kind of the status quo for a long time. And now it's like now I'm an adult and no DVDs like ever, like anywhere.
because I actually worked at a video store, and this
It's a nice
was,
place to work.
I'd say, 2007 to 2009,
Right when they died.
and we didn't have a single VHS.
I'm not surprised by that. We had VHSs because my family is fucking old heads.
Yeah, like that's something that people would have at home, but once you went out and the sort of technology out there, DVD was the standard. DVD was the standard for a long time, and I think a
Yeah.
big part of that was PS2.
No, it's a non-significant amount, but definitely a factor in it. I think it's just mostly because DVDs themselves were becoming like a better way to store information.
Yeah, but like as I've mentioned, like at least here, it was cheaper to buy a PS2 than to buy a DVD player.
Yeah,
Comparative.
yeah. This like I said it earlier, but like this type of technology, I in my head I just think of it as like the stuff that you'd buy at a fucking Radio Shack in like
Radio
2005.
Shack's still a thing.
No, it's dead. Radio Shack died in like 2018 or something. Like that type of like VCRs, fucking video game consoles, DVD players, fucking all this type. I like that physical like stuff to it. But it's something I know so little about. I just kind of get like a bit nerdy in like a hobby, like a less than a hobbyist. Oh, this is so neat. I love this type of stuff. Like a lot of the videos I watch online,
Conceptually nerdy about it.
like I feel like I watch a lot of videos online where people are going over like old tech from like the early 2000s and stuff, and it's like they're just going over it from like a very tech perspective view. But I'm just like my brain forgets all of it because I'm a fucking idiot. And like some aspects of it I do remember a lot of, like the video game aspect I do remember a lot of and stuff. I think anything from like the other end is just like as a byproduct of like me being a fan of video game history and stuff kind of crosses over into other aspects of technology. That's kind of a rambling
Makes sense.
note. Yeah. I'm a little bit of a nerd for things. I like to think of it as I'm a nerd for things that people don't really think about or care about.
There's lots of people that think and care about those things.
Yeah, but the average person doesn't really care about
Yeah,
like
but
a
the average
VCR.
person doesn't really care about like the controllers that Nintendo uses either. Like these are just like gamer things. These are nerdy things. These are the things that the people who care deeply.
I do care. I could have a whole rant about video game menus because I do care deeply about this sort of stuff. Like I could talk for hours on video game boxes, like the physical cardboard or plastic that you get in your video game in.
Cardboard.
I could talk about cardboard for hours.
What fucking games came in cardboard?
SNES and NES, Genesis, N64, they would come in cardboard. I think the first and then the PS1 used the jewel cases instead of the Dreamcast. And then PS2 and Dreamcast, PS2, GameCube, Xbox originally started using plastic, and then from there everything was plastic. Yeah, I could talk about that type of stuff for fucking ever. It's my this is my domain. You're in my fucking domain. You entered it, now you're trapped.
I was trapped when we started fucking going on about Nintendo for half an hour.
It was a
But I
good.
had
It's a,
nothing more to comment on about
we
Nintendo.
talked forever about things you had things to comment on. Don't even give me that
Well, I'm just mentioning the Nintendo thing. That's all.
attitude.
I don't like Nintendo,
I know you don't like Nintendo.
and not just like, oh, their consoles are bad. That's not the criticism there. It's like you can play most games on anything these days.
Mhm,
Even exclusives eventually move outside of their exclusivity,
mhm.
except for Nintendo.
I understand that, but here's the thing about Nintendo. I'm not saying this is like a good reason, but this is the reason why Nintendo doesn't do that. If Nintendo did that, they'd they'd probably lose business. This is how Nintendo sees it. If Nintendo, I think
Yeah,
Nintendo should
they
loosen up
wouldn't
on it.
sell. They wouldn't sell consoles.
They would lose a lot of their market because everyone would just buy PCs. And I think it's better if there's more. No, I shouldn't say if there's more options because like
Like you can buy a PlayStation, and eventually all the games that people are enjoying on Xbox will come to you. But if you buy a PlayStation, you can't play Mario. You'll never play Mario
you'll
Kart,
never play fucking. Well, I shouldn't say
Mario Party.
you'll never play Halo on a PlayStation. You'll never play Gears of War on a PlayStation.
Halo's was very, very tied in with Microsoft.
Yeah, but like what you're saying is things that are on
But you
Xbox eventually
can
go on
play
PlayStation,
Halo
but
on the
that's not the
PC.
case. Yeah, but that's because Microsoft gave up on the
Right,
consoles.
right.
I think more
So,
so what you should be saying
even then,
is
it
not
went
stuff coming over to
beyond
PC.
just its own, like,
For
physical
the
system.
for the longest time, console exclusives really did mean console exclusives. It's not till this newest generation where the games that are on the
This is
PS5,
bad for the
sometimes PS4.
consumer.
Yeah, I do think
I think it's bad for the consumer.
I think
It's bad
PCs
for the end user.
I think PC for the longest time I would argue that it's good to have console exclusives because before PCs became status quo for gaming, like PCs were still very niche and expensive and stuff, and the consoles were the more affordable and like more easily available option for gaming. Like back then, like back in like the Xbox 360 era, I think having console exclusives was fine because it kept like people getting like it kept like monopolies from being able to be formed or like a monopolization being formed if there was like clear distinctions on what you're buying. But now that PCs are kind of the status quo for gaming, I think it's good to have things become less exclusive because everybody is going to buy a PC anyway. And having this like PlayStation releasing their stuff on Steam, like God of War 2018's on Steam, Master Chief Collection from the Xbox is on Steam. Like those games are on Steam. I think that's good.
You know, I look back and I just wondered to myself when PC overtook consoles.
It's this
Like,
generation that we're in
what
now.
was this? It's not this
No,
generation.
it is. It was COVID.
I
COVID's
mean,
when it
look,
overtook it.
I'm talking about the fact that there was a time where you could look at PC games and you'd get things like Monkey Island,
Yeah.
and you'd get things like point and click adventure games that like Sierra games and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. You wouldn't see Crash Bandicoot.
No.
You wouldn't see those types of games on a PC. But eventually, PCs had things like StarCraft 2. PCs had things like
Crisis.
Morrowind, Crisis, things like that. That's
It's
what I'm referring to.
probably
When the
that well,
PCs,
Morrowind also made it to console.
it made it to consoles, but it was a PC game first and
Yeah,
foremost. It was ported to consoles.
I think
There was a
that
certain point where when you played a game on a console, all the way back, let's say PlayStation 1, the original like Crash Bandicoot, the original Spyro games, like those sorts of things. PCs at the time didn't feel capable of handling those things. And I think back and I wonder what was the turning point of that.
Valve. I'd argue around the time Valve started making their games is when PC games started to like match console games. Like Half-Life. That feels like an Xbox game. That feels like a game that exists on the Xbox.
Prior to I guess that is a good point. That is a actually a good sort of.
And then it continues from there. Because you have Half-Life 2, Portal, all that and shit. Like fucking like that's when shit started to be like, oh, this is like a proper competitor to
Portal came
consoles.
much later, I feel
Yeah, I
like.
know, but like this, I'm talking about like this like progression.
Yeah,
Half Life Two was like 2006, and then Portal One was 2009. So it's not that much later.
yeah.
Um, so like this progression, because like because I'm also thinking of Crysis as another game that like for a longest time is you need a powerful PC to be able to run this game. And that I think needing that, like that's like the first instance I could think of a game needing to have like a powerful hardware requirement to play it. Because now we see that all the time.
You
We're like,
know,
oh, in order to run the new next gen games,
the
you need powerful
entire
hardware.
joke about that though
He said the
is
game is
that
ass.
that was mostly because Crysis was kind of badly
Oh yeah,
optimized.
no, the textures in the game are optimized.
Like
But like my point being,
you could have a computer that you sold your soul to Satan to get, and it would still chug on Crysis purely
because
because
the
like the
textures are
game,
unoptimized. I
everything was just so badly optimized in the Crysis games. Like
my
there were
point,
games that came out around the same time that I feel like looked better, played better,
yeah,
had
yeah.
bigger
But
worlds.
my point is not the quality of Crysis or anything. My point is that the culture had gotten to a point where like PC culture had gotten to a point where you need like some games are just gonna need like you need that need for upgrading, you need that need for like the kind of stuff we see now where it's like get the new piece, get the new
The
part, like
rhetoric,
yeah,
the rhetoric of PC Master
yeah, yeah,
Race.
yeah, that type of stuff. That kind of started, and I think Crisis is emblematic of that era beginning, and
True.
that's like the early 20 like Crisis I think 2010, 2009. Let me Google that real quick. Like I think that's like a good point as to when PC gaming started to like really feel like it's let's say Crisis. Oh my god. Crisis 1. Jesus Christ.
2007.
2007. 2007. Okay, so I was close. Is it that same era? Same era as like Portal and like Half-Life and all them too. So like this
Yeah,
is the
I was
type of
in high school.
yeah, this is the type of attitude that I feel started to get PC gaming more popular, but still it was still inaccessible because PCs were still more expensive than consoles. Consoles still had like the legacy grip and stuff, and consoles just kind of had more games that
Out
were
of
like
curiosity,
exclusive.
I looked up Mass Effect as well, and that was also '07.
Yeah, I think Mass Effect, that's a console game, I think, primarily, right?
No.
Is it not? I thought it was like PS4. Or not PS4, PS4, PS3. PS3. I don't play Mass Effect. I don't know anything about Mass Effect really.
Well, it says it was released on the 360.
Yeah. I know it was on consoles because I saw cases for it in the
It's
stores.
only this is interesting. It's on the Wikipedia page. It only lists the 360 as the platform.
Yeah, I thought this was like a console series.
That's very strange to me because I played this on PC.
Maybe it was released later on PC. Or maybe the Wikipedia article was wrong.
Gameplay, combat, setting, plot, development, marketing and
You can check
release.
here. As an Xbox exclusive.
Uh, Microsoft Windows version ported by Demiurge in '08. Yeah, '08, a year later.
Yeah, so this was a console game. That's what I thought. I was wrong about the console though. It was made for Xbox, not Sony.
Yeah, I guess I
I never
just
played it.
always looked at it as a PC game
That
because it
makes
really
sense
makes
though.
sense
That
as a
makes sense
PC game.
though because the Minecraft for Xbox version, they would release exclusive bundles for like games that were out at the time. Like they had one for Skyrim, they had one for eventually Halo, and the second one they did was for Mass Effect. And it kind of makes sense thinking now that it was an Xbox exclusive for a while that they had that.
PS3 in 2012. Wow, took them a long time to get onto Sony.
Yeah.
Took them
That
a
was after
long time
both
to get onto
sequels.
Sony. I mean, this is after
Mass
fucking
Effect 3.
Skyrim released.
That's after Mass Effect 3. um but yeah, what was I going? Oh no, it was, we were talking. So we were saying so the progression of PC consoles, and then it's not until I think streaming took over and COVID that I think PC gaming really eclipsed. Like it's not until like the PS5 and Xbox Series X consoles were like around that I think PC gaming was like, all right, these are just trying to be PCs. And then that's when we get into where we are now, where PC gaming is the dominant like form of playing a game. It's streaming, it's COVID, and it's consoles matching PC like to a T, pretty much, like just being the lesser version of a PC.
Yeah, I feel like that started with the PlayStation 3. Like the PlayStation 3 when it first released, it just felt to me like you could buy a gaming PC. Like you all you've done is spend the money you could have spent on a gaming PC for a machine that can only play games and watch videos.
I guess that's fair. And I mean, when I owned a PS3, it was my dad's, and I didn't really like use it that often. I played Little Big Planet and a game that looked like Alan Wake, but I don't think it was Alan Wake. And we played Oddworld. Those are the only
Oh,
games that
I like Oddworld.
Oddworld. I remember there was a line made of 95% of your bones or some shit like that. That was like, haha, that's funny.
Oh, I think that we've had long enough. We can have another Oddworld game.
We had an Oddworld game. There was a new Oddworld game.
It was.
Yeah, pretty sure. Hold on.
Abe's Odyssey. This is the one I remember.
This is not the one I played because this is PS1. I probably played. That's Xbox original.
2021 Soulstorm.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. What did one did I play? Was it new? It was new and tasty. This is the no. Is it? Was it PS3? Yeah, this is the one I played. New and tasty. This is the one that I played. And then Soulstorm is the newest one. Yeah, there was indeed new Oddworld game. But it was 2021.
I remember Abe's Odyssey was such a wild game back then. But I feel like games are less strange now.
Yeah,
I miss the
you can even
strangeness of
see
some
it.
games.
You can
Like,
even see it on the box art for Soulstorm. Like it's kind of safe. It looks like fucking Stellaris in
yeah,
the
but I
background.
mean, like if you look at like I don't know if you heard of Earthworm Jim.
I know our friend Jim. Project Seaman.
Things like Jazz Jackrabbit. Like
Seaman.
games don't feel like this weird anymore. You know what
Seaman.
I mean?
Seaman. The greatest Dreamcast game ever.
I don't know. I don't. Got your thing up. Oh, there it is.
Seaman. Project Seaman.
Yeah,
This game is fucking like weird. This is the weirdest fucking game ever to exist. I'm not,
yeah.
I'm
But
not gonna
I feel like we
Seaman
don't
too.
we don't get this outside of meme games. Like these were still serious games. These were still like games.
Well,
It
maybe not
wasn't
Seaman.
Goat Simulator.
Yeah, no, like Earthworm Jim you mentioned. That was like a game you buy. Fucking Wild Woody. You know fucking Wild Woody?
I don't know Wild Woody. I
Wild
like
Woody. It's Wild Woody. You play as a pencil that's hip in 90s and cool. Look at this fucking title. Look at this fucking title screen.
very, very 90s.
So 90s. That W, oh my god. The fucking arrow on it. The
But
loop
we
de
don't
loop.
I don't feel like we get these anymore.
We would never get a Wild Woody.
What was that other game you showed me? With fucking
Seaman.
like no, not
No.
Seaman. Another time, the one where they're like taking out nails and hopping around on a map. You showed me like the funny people you watch playing it.
Hopping around on a map, taking out nails. Oh, Gubble. Gubble.
Gobble,
Gubble.
gobble,
The Game Grumps video. Gubble. It's fucking Gubble. Yeah.
gobble.
Gubble.
Like we
We
don't
won't ever
like
get a
as bad
Gubble.
as I think this is,
This is
we don't
horrible.
get this. We don't get just like wild off the wall ideas like this anymore.
Gubble. Yeah, we'll never get a Gubble again. We'll never get a Glover again.
Glover,
Gex.
Katamari Damacy,
Katamari Damacy. Well, Katamari Damacy's kind of got like a big
X.
Yeah,
Gex.
fucking
I played
Gex.
a Gex game. I played Gex 3D. What is it?
Enter the Gecko. This is the one.
Oh,
This
I
is the
don't
one I
know.
played. We had Katamari Damacy. Kind of has like a big fan base now. So I feel like this is one that survived. This is one of those weird games that survived. Like this is one of the survivorship bias. Like yeah, weird games still exist. Dude. This is one of the ones. Chibi Robo. Chibi Robo is another one.
No, it was Gex 3, Deep Cover Gecko.
Chibi Robo is another one of those ones. It's a GameCube game, but it kind of just got turned into a bastardized version of itself.
Like I still remember one of the things I remember from Gex was one of his voice lines. There's an ice level
Fucking hate Gex.
there, right? Right?
Yeah.
There's an ice level that you went through, and the motherfucker actually quotes Nightmare Before Christmas.
Because he's the Family Guy, the video game. Fucking
I know,
reference
but it's
humor.
just you're running around the ice level. It's like Christmas Town. I'm Jack Skellington from Halloween Town,
It's
and it's
so
just
bad.
so random in
This
a
is the
Gex
one. This is the
game.
one you're talking about. Deep Cover Gecko.
Yeah, I had it brought up on my side
Oh,
as
sorry,
well.
I have mine pulled up. What is this?
Yeah, it's about as bad as you could imagine, but I had tons of fun with this game. I had tons of
Rock,
fun.
Rock as well. Oh, game. Rock, Legend of the Gobos. It's what I think of when in BG3 people say gobos. This is what I think of. This is what my
But
brain
you have
goes
to admit,
to.
the people were throwing shit at the wall, and what eventually
Rock.
stuck, I think, what eventually stuck was things like Crash Bandicoot, things like
Bubsy.
Pyro.
You're telling me Bubsy didn't stick?
No, it didn't.
This game's horrible. Bubsy Paws on Fire. This is like legitimately one of the worst games
I
ever.
do still think that the peak of PlayStation 2 era were the there was Crash 1 and was Crash 2 and 3.
Crash Bandicoot.
Like Crash
Oh.
Bandicoot 2 and 3.
What's another fucking wild? If I'm trying to think
Let's
of like,
pull up 3.
if I'm trying to think of like modern, wild, weird games,
Like
I can't even
you can
think of.
see this is in that
It's
same
so
genre of just
fucking
throwing
funny.
everything wild at the wall,
He's in a
but
leather
this
jacket.
was
It's so
so
funny.
good. Like
Brr,
oh,
brr.
this level, the
Ugh.
tiny tiger.
Hoity toiga.
Nothing was more infuriating than like the water levels with her, the jet ski levels. Oh, I miss this era. Like I really do kind of. Do you remember
Nostalgia.
Tomba? I
Tamba?
don't know.
I know
Maybe
Tamba.
you're a bit young,
I know Tamba.
but like Tomba.
Tamba is the game that one of my favorite cringe videos comes from.
Yeah.
You know, why are there so many pig enemies in video games? I would really prefer if you would be quiet. It's so funny. Like
Oh, that the
yeah,
GDQ thing.
yeah. I would really prefer if you would stop talking.
Oh, really? That is one of
Can you
the
pull that up?
greatest fucking moments from GDQ.
GDQ is I really need to start watching GDQ because I love speedruns. I'm kind of like a dabble. I occasionally watch speedruns. I would love to do a Halo Combat Evolved speedrun if I did one. But like sorry, but like I sometimes will like just watch some GDQ stuff and like GDQ is some of the best cringe videos ever. Yes. Yes. Oh, it's so good. Hold on, I need to increase your Discord volume.
3, 2, 1, go.
I think it's yeah.
Get here. Good joke.
Yeah.
So confirmed Santa's #1 helper is a squirrel.
I would really prefer if you would be quiet.
Oh, it's so funny. Because the guy here, Chibi, there's a video over on the right. It's a 32-minute video, but Chibi, the guy who made that joke, he's like a cheater. He's a speedrun cheater.
He was caught cheating in speedruns,
He
which
was cheating in
to me is really
wait,
just
hold on,
a
before you
different
close out of this, before you close out of this. Well, 5th video down, racial slurs tier list on the right from Stoic Stick. I can't think of a video that makes me feel more icky than that. Anyway, Chibi was caught cheating on a Mario 1000 Year Door speedrun. It was really funny.
Like, I watched a video on Chibi. It's a black hole of bad.
I would really prefer if you were to be
GDQ was
quiet.
recently, wasn't it?
Yeah, GDQ was. Yeah, I remember
it's-
seeing in someone's server they were
Aren't they
talking
like-
about speedrun for New Vegas, all romances speedrun. That's a
Like
fun one.
they're live now, aren't they?
Probably.
Yeah.
What are they doing right now?
Yeah. Right now they are running Rocket League.
Rocket League speedrun? For what? Say?
Workshop map speedrun
Oh,
showcase.
this is cool. This is
So,
cool.
as somebody who knows and obviously likes like GDQ, at least in concept, since you haven't watched much, I have.
Yeah.
What do you think of ESA?
Of what? Oh, tool assisted speedruns?
No, ESA is
Oh,
European
ESA.
Speedrun.
Oh, I thought you said
Yeah,
TSA.
ESA is European Speedrunners
like,
Assembly. It's
yes.
basically the European version of GDQ.
I don't watch it, but I'm sure if it's as like GDQ is, then I'm cool with it.
It's pretty much GDQ but Europe.
And yeah, it's cool. I might check it out too if it's got English subtitles then. Because really,
No,
I
well, they
watch
all
it for the
speak
games.
English. Like, look, Europe is many languages, right?
When I think of
But the
Europe, I think of
quote-unquote
Germany
lingua. Well,
because it's like the biggest in the middle.
don't let Adolf hear you. He
Well,
might
no,
like
it's
your
in the
idea.
middle, so like it's the one directly in the center. So I think of
Yeah, but Germany is small.
yeah, but Germany's also like pretty
Small.
big influentially, but it's
Yeah,
also
it's
it's
just
also pretty
because-
big though. Let's not lie, it's pretty big. Bigger than
Um,
it's bigger than like Lithuania. It's bigger than a lot of other
Lithuania.
European countries. Like it's not as big as France, but only marginally.
That's kind of like what I think of when I think of the bulk of Europe when it
Fuck
comes to
France.
size. It's France, right?
Fuck
like-
France. France. I lost all respect for France after Macron, but we're not going to talk about that.
Like if we just go to maps,
Make sure you're on this account, so you're not going to dox yourself. Do they have kayaks?
oh look, I dox myself.
I'm in South Africa.
Come at me, Americans. Come at me. First, you have to get through Africa.
Like Germany's pretty
Anyway.
big.
France.
I don't just think of Germany. I think of France, Germany, and Poland because they're the big ones in the middle. I don't think of England. Fuck you. Fuck England.
I mean, like, you know, when you think ESA, you know, you're pulling people from Norway, Sweden, Finland, the UK. You're pulling people from like Eastern Europe, like Ukraine, Romania, Serbia.
Fair.
Like you're coming from a very massive sort of thing, and a lot of these people will never be able to make it to something like GDQ.
Yeah, no,
Like
because GDQ is very
all be
American.
honest here. No, it's not just that it's very American; it's that it's in America. Like
That's what I mean.
we
like,
can all admit, you can get pretty big as a speedrunner, but it doesn't mean that you're gonna be rich enough to just book a ticket.
yeah, you kind of
over
have
to the
like I
US.
know I've heard a lot of times for big things like that, people get tickets paid for them if they're like a big speaker and stuff, but like or if they're a big showcase or whatever the fuck. But I don't think that's gonna be happening for every single speedrunner going to GDQ.
Yeah, like there's people who get maybe like 20, 30 views, but because they hold the number one record, like they get the seat at GDQ.
Yeah,
And it's easy enough to go like, okay, I don't know where GDQ is actually held.
probably LA. I'm gonna assume LA, Houston. I'm not gonna say New York. I'm gonna guess Maybe Seattle?
Let's see. Where is
I'm gonna assume
GDQ
LA.
held? Held in various locations, including Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania,
Oh.
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Well, you're saying the city and then the state. Minneapolis, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
I'm just reading the thing that it says here.
Yeah, but it sounds like you're saying different cities.
I just read the thing that it says here.
Blah, 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 blah.
But like, yeah, it's Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh is the pits. Pittsburgh is
So
in the east
like
part of Pennsylvania.
you could,
I
in
could fit it
theory,
in.
if you were a speedrunner, you could easily make it to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. That's like a day's drive.
But
Nah, it's not even
somebody
a day's
who,
drive.
for
10
example,
hours.
like lives in fucking Sweden or
They're not making it
Norway,
to Pittsburgh.
is not just gonna drop off in Pittsburgh.
I could pick up
You
David
know?
if I wanted to head there. To Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So what are you speedrunning?
If I were to speedrun, I'd speedrun Halo Combat Evolved.
Gobble.
Gubble speedrun! I don't think you could speedrun Gubble.
I think you can.
I don't know how you would.
You can speedrun anything.
I don't know what a fucking speedrun for Gubble would look like. I'd have to... I'd want... If I were to speedrun Gubble, I'd want to buy a physical copy of it. And, like, do that, you know? Gubble speedruns. 7 people have done it. Yeah, look, it's 29 minutes. Yeah, I don't think you could speedrun this game. I think the speedrun comes down to how quickly can you press the buttons on the menu.
Well, that's what a lot of speedruns are.
Well, yeah, but like those are not the interesting speedruns to me.
I don't know.
That's why I don't.
What speedrun do you find interesting then? Like to watch?
I like speedruns that require like weird movement, like sequence breaking, getting to areas you're not supposed to be in on time. I don't like the ones where it's just I'm going fast and clicking buttons fast. Like Half-Life speedrun is good. The
A
shit,
Half-Life
the
speedrun
shit that they
is
do in these
fucking
games.
crazy. The Half-Life speedrun is absolutely fucking crazy. Like, give me the fucking
Level runs?
give me the actual run here. Here
There
we
you go.
go. Like, let me just skip ahead
Ads.
to. There's a certain point in the game. I think this might be the glitchless.
This is still crazy though. Like the movement, that's the type of shit I like. That's the step I like.
But yeah, there's a certain point in the Half-Life speedrun where they completely break the movement tech. I think it's in Half-Life 2, it's especially shown off because there's a section in Half-Life 2 where they give you like an airboat,
Yeah. The airboat.
the airboat section, and it's actively faster to just not take the airboat in the speedrun.
That's another
Like,
thing. Speaking of,
look at that movement speed.
it's so good. It's so crazy. I'm reminded of I forget the runner's name, but the guy who did Halo Combat Evolved for like 3 hours because he didn't know what he was doing.
Oh, the Halo speedrun controversy. Let
What's
me
that
see if I
guy?
can bring up.
There's like the Halo
Oh,
rule because of him, where if your speedrun's too long, they'll mercy kill you.
what was his name?
I forget his name. Just Google like Halo speedrun that was in America or something like that.
Cody Miller.
Odie Miller. Yep. Yeah, that pull it
Who
up.
actively didn't know where to go in.
Yeah. When you said it's faster to just not take the speedboat, it reminded me of Cody Miller because he would do shit in that is just actively so much slower than what you should be doing. Pull it up over here. Not that there's really much to pull up because it's like a 3-hour video. Because I remember he was like
Yeah.
allotted a certain amount of time and
It's
went. Oh, it was
like
two and a half hours.
like a
No,
reaction to it, I
yeah,
think.
this is a reaction, yeah, because it was this doesn't this is
This
not a good
doesn't
version of it because I want the version that has the room because the room of everyone in it just looking miserable as time went on. That's it. That looks like it's it.
I think this
No, it's
this
Halo
this
Reach. That's him running Halo Reach. I don't know why that motherfucker was allowed to run another game.
but pretty much the same idea where
He was just so slow. Look at him meandering right here.
uh can you believe like this used to be GDQ?
That's so chill
Like
though.
what compared to what it is
That's
now,
so chill
like
though.
this used to be GDQ. It's just like
That's so chill though. I love environments like this. That's the main reason why I like GDQ, honestly, is that it just looks so fucking chill to be there. Like if you're just sitting there watching the speedrun, that's cool. Like it's a good
lots of these
community.
moments
It's a really good
emerge as
community.
speedrunner roasted. It's GDQ
It's a fun community. When cops face their last moments, what the fuck is YouTube when you don't have like any sort of like recommended? I love you, son. Do you see that on the right there?
Oh god. That's so grim and dark.
Probably clickbait for sure.
Probably clickbait. But we've definitely not speedrun this episode.
No, this is one of the longer ones. I'm happy though. Much better than last week.
Yeah, we don't talk about last week.
You don't talk about the last episode we put out.
We don't talk about last week.
Well, are we saying goodbye then? Is this goodbye? Are you
I
wrapping
think
up?
I think it's a good point. I mean, unless there's something specific you want to bring up, but I'm like,
Nah, I mean this will be the last episode before the inauguration, and it'll be the last episode before I return to classes too.
oh,
Because
there's that as well.
next time we record, will be next Thursday, which will be the second day of my classes. Because my classes begin on the 22nd, and that'll be the 23rd next time we record. And the inauguration's in 4 days. So
On Monday.
that's Monday. Yeah. So this episode comes out Sunday.
Yep.
This could be the last thing someone listens to during the Biden administration.
That's depressing.
Yeah. Well, excited for the future. I'm excited to get back to classes. Well, the class
At least you have something to be excited about.
I'm most excited for my Holocaust history class. That's a little weird to say that you're excited for a Holocaust class, but like it's a professor that I really respect and like a lot, and he teaches really well, and it's a material that I think is very important. So I am looking forward to that class from a historian perspective, not from like, oh, this class could be so fun. It's like this class is going to be interesting, and I'm going to
Yeah, learn good things.
I'm going to learn. I'm also excited for my comp sci class because I do like computers, as I've mentioned earlier, but I'm not good with them. I really enjoyed the coding class I took in high school. I'm happy I get a chance to take another one because I don't know any other context I'd really like pick up coding. I guess I could just do it as a hobby, but like I don't know. I already got so much going on. Might as well make myself do it. Force me to do it for a grade.
True.
You know what I was thinking about in the car on the way home
The
from
end of the podcast.
True, I could tell. Yeah, that was what I was thinking about. I'll tell you after we end what I was thinking about. The audience will never know.
The audience. No, I'll tell them now.
I was thinking like, what if I just like started working as like a YouTube editor,
Do
like
it.
for someone who's like needing an editor for like a small content creator who needs an editor. I could just do it.
Do it.
But like, I don't know how I'd interview for that. I don't know how I would like get the job for that sort of thing. And I'm not too confident in my ability to edit.
I will say this. Generally, it's good to be a watcher of the person's content
True.
first.
True.
So, you know, are there small YouTubers who are heading towards becoming the size of
I watch
Or
I
even
watch a lot of
Twitch
small
streamers.
YouTubers.
Why don't you edit for me?
What am I editing for you?
Just like uh, make you know my stuff better.
You don't you do live streams. I can't edit a live stream as it's live.
You know what you could start with though
What?
to get practice.
Tell me.
You can start making shorts out of some of the pieces of the podcast.
True. I don't think we're funny
So
enough for that.
I think
I
well,
don't. I
it need to be funny, just like bits from the podcast,
I am so
takes and shit.
well. I think maybe we should not focus on the shorts meta when TikTok is about to be banned. Let's get a little grasp of the
Yeah, but we're not
environment.
putting this stuff on TikTok. God no.
True. I mean, TikTok gets more eyes and better eyes probably because YouTube Shorts is full of fucking weirdos. No
And
sane person uses I mean like I think oh, we have to end the fucking podcast. We have to end the podcast. This will go on for 9 more years if we just keep letting it go.
yeah, well, I tried to give it a natural ending, and then you were like, "Did you know?" And I was thinking about today. I was like, "All right, well,
You
fuck it.
gotta
I guess
muzzle
like,
me.
they're just going on forever.
You gotta muzzle me after like 2 minutes. After 2.
Podcast will never end."
All right, everybody, have a great rest of your night. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great whatever the fuck. I'm not good at exiting. Jade, do you have anything to say?
Fuck you all.